On the same day, Moscow said Ukraine struck deep into Russia with U.S.-made ATACMS missiles. President Vladimir Putin lowered Russia's threshold for a nuclear response to be able to respond to a broader range of conventional attacks. Russia has the world's biggest nuclear arsenal, and Putin is the main decision maker on how to use it. The change was published on the 1,000th day of the war in Ukraine and drew swift rebuke from its president, Volodymyr Zelensky.
Especially this day, they presented nuclear weapons strategy. Why? They didn't present peace strategy. Did you hear it? Did you read about it? No, of course. Of course, nuclear weapons strategy. Putin wants war.
Speaking in Brazil, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov warned against cherry-picking what's in the new doctrine, saying, "I hope this doctrine will be read." The old one said Russia could fight nuclear with nuclear or use nuclear weapons against a conventional attack that threatened its very existence. Analysts say the big change now is that Russia could consider a nuclear strike in response to a conventional attack that posed what it called a critical threat to its sovereignty or territory. Together, Russia and the U.S. control 88% of the world's nuclear warheads. The U.S. National Security Council said it had not seen any reason to adjust its nuclear posture. Moscow has been warning the West for months that if Washington gave the green light to Ukraine to fire U.S., British, and French missiles deep into Russia, it would consider those NATO members to be directly involved in the war. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer spoke to reporters from the G20 in Brazil.
There's irresponsible rhetoric coming from Russia, and that is not going to deter our support for Ukraine.
Moscow's forces are advancing at their fastest pace since the early weeks of the conflict, with some Russian and Western officials alike saying the war could be entering its final and most dangerous phase.
Rows of solar panels in India's northwest symbolise the country's mighty aspirations for renewable energy. But its plans to expand domestic manufacturing in the solar industry are coming up short. That's according to experts who say India is grappling with inadequate government funding and a major skills shortage. This will potentially jeopardise its clean energy targets to hit net zero carbon emissions by 2070. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Make in India programme has allocated $3 billion as incentives for local manufacturers. Yet industry leaders say India, a major greenhouse gas emitter, must significantly step up funding and training programmes to reach its environmental goals. Analysts estimate the need for 1.7 million skilled workers by 2027, with the industry seeing a skills gap of 1.2 million already. Aditya Sagal is the CEO of Alpex Solar.
Now that we're hiring at an exponential rate, we're hoping the government is able to introduce or push universities and schools in India to have a larger focus on manufacturing in the renewable sector. Being able to provide hands-on training to students on how to maybe run machines or how to maintain machines, right?
A shift in the direction of renewables could be really impactful for India. Many manufacturers said that this skill shortage could also limit India's plans to expand solar module exports, which touched $1.9 billion last fiscal year, mainly to the US market.
On Chile's Ascotan salt flat, this Karachi fish somehow survives. But this resilient species existing in an extreme environment more than 2 miles above sea level is now facing a different threat from the mining industry. Miguel Allende is director of the Milenio Institute Center for Genome Regulation.
Chile is a unique environment. It is a unique place in the world that does not exist anywhere else. These species are only here, and therefore preserving them is our responsibility as citizens, as a country.
Allende says Orestias ascotanensis, to give the fish its scientific name, has a series of genes that help it survive in its hostile environment. That includes genes to withstand high levels of solar radiation and of salt and heavy metals, as well as low concentrations of oxygen. However, local residents like Maurizio Anza Cruz say the population of fish has been reducing. He blames the extraction of water from the salt flats for copper mining activities.
The ideal for us is not to take more water from these springs, from these wells, so that the fish can survive, because that is what causes harm. When they take the water from us, the fish start dying.
The salt flat is also part of government plans to become a private lithium exploitation project. Back at his lab in Santiago, Allende says guarantees must be given to preserve the ecosystem. While mining activity is economically important, he says it must be carried out in a way that ensures that a particular environment is not lost forever.
Expectant mother Vasha Jain says she stays indoors in New Delhi to avoid breathing the toxic smog covering northern India. Her husband is equally concerned, worrying about their child growing up in such polluted air. On Tuesday, she and many others in northern India woke up to another day of severe pollution.
I don't step outside the house, I walk around inside my house, eat healthy, and we also have air purifiers at home so that we breathe fresh air. So these are the precautions I take. There is concern for the baby. If this is how the situation continues, how will things be in future? However, my doctor has given me good guidance of staying at home. Also, there is no other way but to face this situation.
Each winter, India faces air pollution as coal air traps dust, fumes, and smoke from illegal farm fires in Punjab and Haryana states. On Tuesday, New Delhi's 24-hour air quality index was 488 on a scale to 500, according to India's Central Pollution Control Board. It says 0 to 50 counts as good, and anything above 401 as severe. Swiss experts ranked the Indian capital as the world's most polluted city, with air quality classified as hazardous. The government has been forced to restrict vehicle movements and construction activity and has urged schools to hold classes online. This week, the country's weather department said that a shift in the fog towards the northern state of Uttar Pradesh had helped improve visibility in Delhi. Local media reported that strict measures to reduce pollution have slowed production at over 3.4 million small and medium-sized businesses in Punjab, Haryana, and Delhi.
A UK startup is using sound waves to make objects levitate in mid-air. And London-based AcoustoFab says its, quote, acoustic levitation is not just a neat trick. It could also have commercial applications, such as for handling toxic materials. Co-founder Sriram Subramanian said the technology uses an array of tiny speakers to aim ultrasonic sound waves at a particular point. This creates what developers describe as a pressure cage, strong enough to support a droplet or particle.
But the magic trick is we time the turning on and off of each individual speaker precisely. Then if you put an object there, it's going to be held in place. Right? And because we do it computationally, we can also update that shape so fast that the object then starts moving in the way you want it to move.
Shubi Bansal is another co-founder. She said that the ability to manipulate liquids without contaminating them offers exciting opportunities in life sciences, where toxic materials are handled daily all around the world.
Everything could be automated. They can do the reactions, place the samples directly in the well plate on the required positions without any human hindrance, without creating any waste.